In this video, we take a look at 5 more prison escapes caught on camera. Some of these are pretty intense, and others downright bizarre. This list has it all. It features bulldozers, fistfights, helicopters, and excrement-coated pipes. Now that I've got your attention, let's start. On August 27, 1995, 12 inmates escaped when a large bulldozer was driven into the walls of a maximum security prison near Copenhagen, Denmark. The prison held some of Denmark's most dangerous and notorious prisoners, and the escapees were a seriously hazardous crowd made up of 4 robbers, 3 drug dealers, and 5 murderers. While these prisoners fled and made a break for freedom, others stayed and decided not to jeopardize their chances of legally leaving the jail at a later point. Prior to the escape, a former inmate of the prison had been communicating with those still incarcerated using cell phones which had been thrown over the walls. This sneaky perpetrator then stole the bulldozer, smashed through the walls, and released the prisoners, as had been arranged. The footage, captured on a video camera, shows prisoners sprinting from the boundaries of the prison while guards flee after them, thoroughly confused and unsure as what to do. As the prisoners run, they look pretty jubilant and happy, one of them even excitedly shouting, "Yeah!" as he runs beyond the camera. The recording stops when one guard abruptly places his hand over the lens in order to prevent any further filming. Though they could not anticipate the attack, the guards were clearly concerned that the footage would make them look incompetent and inadequate. The whole clip is pretty chaotic. It took more than 6 months to rebuild the broken wall. The prison team also installed extra security cameras to prevent further breakout attempts. All 12 of the escapees were captured within a month and returned to their cells. In Iași, northeastern Romania, in 2015, a guard was tasked with the job of escorting 2 prisoners to a van. In theory, a pretty simple job, and all very routine stuff. However, CCTV footage from the day shows what ends up as a pretty botched effort. As the 3 are walking out of the prison and towards the van, which is in the parking lot, one of the prisoners sees an opportune chance to escape and quickly bounds over a fence. Seeing this, the unfortunate and flustered prison guard opens a gate and goes running after his escapee. Having done so, he leaves the other criminal alone in the parking lot with an open gate in front of him. Finding himself in a wonderfully fortunate position, the second prisoner does what anyone else would do and takes the chance to join his fellow escapee. He sprints through the open gate and also makes a run for it. While he runs in one direction, the other prisoner runs in another, and the guard can of course only chase one of them. The prisoners were not brought back to the complex on the day of their escape as they could not be located. One of them was found at a later date, while the fate of the other is unknown. So much for high security. In June 2011, when convicted murderer Trent Archie decided to break out of his Texas jail cell, he didn't do so with any contrived tricks or complex plans. He simply tried to smash and fight his way through the front door. Just before 3 a.m., he and his fellow inmate Davis McLeskey brutally attacked and assaulted 3 officers in order to make their way to the exit. CCTV videos from the early hours of the morning show the pair on the prison telephones, purporting to speak to people from outside the compound. Archie claimed that he wanted to call his mother at such an early hour in order to catch her before she set off for her pre-dawn morning paper delivery drop. Officers believe that Archie was in fact just pretending to be on the phone, waiting for his opportunity to escape. They remained on the phones, or perhaps not, for 20 minutes, seizing their chance when one of the officers opened the door. The footage then shows them grapple and wrestle with officers, punching and kicking them in their attempt to escape. One of the officers was later treated for a head injury. While Archie managed to escape, McLeskey wasn't so lucky and was instead taken back to his cell, shirtless and hopeless. Archie, who was serving 40 years for murder, was finally tracked down 3 days later and taken back to prison. His mother, Jacqueline, was charged with attempting to help him hide. His two girlfriends were also charged. After being discovered, Archie, who was undergoing a new hearing, claimed that he had attempted to escape because he wasn't getting a fair trial. He was subsequently charged for his attempt to escape. The prison captain later vowed to tighten security at the prison, which has seen at least 7 successful escapes within a 22-year period. In perhaps the smelliest escape attempt in all human history, in 2015, an inmate at a Brazilian prison attempted to flee via the unusual option of the communal toilet. The footage, which you can almost smell through the screen, shows him being pulled from the excrement-covered sewage pipes, which lead from the lavatory. At the maximum security prison, his other escape options must have been pretty limited, and he was left with this one and only stinky alternative. Unfortunately for him, the pipes are tighter and narrower than he had anticipated, so the video shows him wedged in, stuck in the putrid environment of the tubes. He persistently wiggles and wobbles to get himself free, but he finally gives up the ghost and decides to let 2 men aid his recapture. A later shot of the man shows him standing upright and covered in waste. His malodorous position no doubt compounds his disappointment at not being able to escape. The exact location of the prison and the identity of the fragrant vagrant are not known, but it is believed that anyone in the region of South America can smell him if the wind blows right. Still, you must admire him for his unsavory attempt. God loves a trier, though he might need a wash before he steps through the pearly gates. In something resembling a heist movie, 2 Canadian prisoners attempted a daring escape from prison via helicopter. The bold attempt occurred in 2013, and footage shows the pair clambering up a rope to reach the chopper, which is placed on the prison roof in Quebec. The 2 planned and plotted the escape via secret text messages, which they'd sent from smuggled phones. Their accomplices rented a helicopter under seemingly innocent means, then hijacked it at gunpoint to aid them in their escape. The pilot, no doubt taken by surprise, was then forced to fly to the prison while being threatened by the hijackers. Officers could see the escape taking place, but were reluctant to interfere as the helicopter hijackers were armed and dangerous. Throughout their ascent up the rope, both inmates seemed thoroughly incapable of making it to the roof. The whole attempt seems pretty dim and dithery, and looks to be carried out with little urgency. When the inmates seemingly cannot complete the climb to the roof, the helicopter takes off with them hanging from the rope. Before they manage to successfully float away, the rope then gets stuck, somewhat ironically, on a CCTV camera. The footage then shows them rise and drift out of shot. They then landed nearby in a getaway car and made their breakaway attempt in the relative safety of the vehicle, probably pleased just to have their feet firmly on the ground. The escapees and their accomplices were then found just hours after they floated away to freedom. Not quite the Hollywood ending they'd planned. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to see more videos like this, also to hear my dashing voice.